Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So we are looking at Black Panther Classic full-on champion spotlight after Black Panther's Overhaul. Now I'm not gonna read all the flavor text and kind of like developers notes, the things that we do need to know. I do believe the prestige has been changed slightly somewhat, but it's still going to be relatively low compared. He's definitely not going to be a prestige rank up. Now going further, obviously he's still gonna rely on bleed damage. He will have new interesting mechanic, Panther's Might. I kind of get a bit of playstyle feeling, kind of like from a Ronin, but I do think that he's going to be a lot better than Ronin, but we'll see when it actually lands there. That's just a initial suspicion. So he also gains precisions and cruelties. He can shrug off debuffs as well with his signature ability, and additionally to all of that, he can reduce opponents' ability accuracy. So basically typical skill champion, as in literally out of the cookie cutter template there. Right, obviously weaknesses, anybody with power gain abilities, because you do want to be intercepting quite frequently with Black Panther, and on top of that, bleed immune champions. Stun immune champions also might cause some problems. Right, so let's go and break down his abilities. So first and foremost, critical hits have 100% chance to apply bleed, dealing 1000 direct damage over 6 seconds, and this is pretty much what he had before. That's most of his hit previously. But let's look at the new stuff. 100% chance to gain cruelty passive, granting 158 critical damage rating for 1.2 seconds. These cruelty passives fall off one at a time, kind of like Howard, and you can get up to 15 of these. So they're not overly potent by themselves at all, but however, the fact that he has access to 15 of them should still be somewhat meaningful. Increasing damage, plus they will make the rest of his abilities more potent. Then intercepting the opponent or striking them while they are recovering from heavy or special attack grants an additional cruelty passive. So this mechanic is kind of going to look like Black Widow Deadly Origins, when you kind of like punish the opponents after their dashes, heavies, and specials. While striking into an auto block, Panther is immune to stun, so that ability is straight off Nick Fury. He has exactly the same one, and it can be very, very helpful when you're going up against somebody like Thor Ragnarok, for instance. You don't need to worry about getting parried there. Alright, so Panther's Might, that is a new mechanic here. So dashing back after a non-combo ending attack will grant one indefinite inactive Panther's Might, max 5 charges. Inactive Panther's Might charges cannot be gained while Panther's Might is active. So this is the bit where he becomes kind of like a mix of Ronin and Black Widow Deadly Origins, because that's how Ronin is typically played. You alternate in between 2, 3, and 4 hit combos, and then dash back and then change stances and gain cruelty passives. In this sense, you're going to be doing pretty much the same thing. You do want to be doing like dash back intercepts and stuff like that, and then you will be getting these Panther Might charges. And then we need to take a look at what Panther's Might actually does. Landing a heavy attack while at 3 or more inactive charges grants Panther's Might for 3 seconds per charge consumed. So you can get it up to max 5 charges, it should give you 15-second duration. Upon activation, gain 1 precision passive for each personal cruelty active, each increasing critical rating by 87.5. And again, you can get up to 15 of these. So you would end up sitting at 15 cruelty passives and 15 precision passives, which would obviously let you crit significantly more often. And then on top of that, you would crit for more. Intercepting the opponent or hitting an opponent recovering from heavy or special attack pauses Panther's Might for 5 seconds. So technically, you can kind of keep it up for a very, very, very long time, especially if you combine this ability with level 3s. Also, pause all personal cruelty passives, so that's quite nice. While active, bleed debuffs gain plus 8% duration for each personal cruelty active on Black Panther. Remember, that can be up to 15, so you get 120% bleed debuff duration increase, so you can probably have a very long, very potent bleeds. Also, attacks reduce opponents' defensive ability accuracy by 50%, and with signature ability, this can actually go up to 100%. We're going to check that out in a bit. Also, special attacks 1 and 2, intercepting the opponent. Each hit of this special attack is guaranteed critical and apply an additional bleed debuff. Now, this is going to be fairly tricky to do without a synergy. There is a synergy that lets his special attacks go unblockable, and that then it would be easier to achieve. But if you are okay with playing Ghost without Wasp Synergy, then you might be okay doing this as well. Right, special 1 Roundhouse, gain 3 indefinite Panther's Might charges, then consume all charges and enter Panther's Might for 5 seconds per charge consumed. So this would be technically a better way how to enter Panther's Might, because that lasts for 5 seconds, so it would overall be longer. Not to mention you don't have to land a heavy attack, which might be tricky in some matchups. So there is a decent use for this special attack. Special 2 is basically your damage. This attack gains plus 115 attack rating for each personal cruelty active on Black Panther. And keep in mind, if you do intercept with it, then you're guaranteed crit and you're going to be doing a ton of bleed damage, as it says here. So hopefully it translates well, and it is actually a lot of damage. Lastly, special 3 inflicts up to 5 bleed debuffs, which each having 100% chance to apply and dealing 805.35 direct damage over 15 seconds. So this is not overly potent bleed. The regular bleed on critical hits is stronger, but this is much, much longer though. Refresh duration of Panther's Might. So that is also very, very helpful. And with this combination that you can pause Panther's Might by intercepting, could effectively let you spend pretty much entire fight in the Panther's Might and passively reduce opponent's defensive ability accuracy by 50%. And then there is more. Intercepting the opponent has 100% chance to purify 1 of each debuff from Black Panther. So basically, whenever you intercept, you can purify. So I'm not entirely sure how reliable will this purification ability turn out to be in case opponent starts playing passive and you can't get in an intercept. It might not be there when you need it the most. And right now, there is a quite high competition for skill characters. So this is one of those things that remains to be tested pretty much. But it's still a relatively decent, obviously useful ability. And here is the second bit. Each bleed debuff on the opponent decreases their ability accuracy by 10.5%, max 5 bleeds. But here is the point of those 5 weaker bleeds for 15 seconds, where if you drop a level 3 for 15 seconds after level 3, you will have opponent with no ability accuracy. Now, obviously, there is a question of getting to that level 3, but these do not have to be the level 3 bleeds. So whenever you crit, whenever you apply any other bleeds on the opponent, this will help you to reduce opponent's ability accuracy even further, and you can go over 100%. That's completely shutting down the opponent. Now, once again, how practical is it going to be? Because, let's face it, 50% ability accuracy reduction is not really all that important. But if you can reliably get to 100%, then that is very, very important. And that is one of those things that we will have to wait and see and play test. Now, there he has some new synergies. One of the probably more important ones for a lot of people is going to be the one with Storm. Black Panther gain 1 second unblockable passive when activating special attack, so this would help you intercept with specials a lot easier. Storm, each shock debuff on the opponent grants plus 20% special attack damage, max potency at 5 shocks. This also could be quite helpful, because Storm as a horseman obviously can spam shocks on opponent very easy, and your specials would hit harder, but I don't know how needed it is really. Kings with Killmonger. Now, Black Panther intercepting the opponent, you can gain a True Strike, so this could be one of the most important synergies, because having True Strike could be quite cool. I like this. And Killmonger is obviously quite decent champ as well. And what Killmonger gains basically additional time he can trigger special 3 bleeds. So that also can be somewhat helpful for Killmonger. Now with Iron Fist, Black Panther started the fight with 3 inactive Panther's Might charges. Which is kind of fair enough. Fair play, just have a little bit of a head start. And Iron Fist, some armor break potency. There are also some synergy updates with Tigra. Gain additional cruelty passive from all hits. It's good, so you can ramp up to 15 quicker. Hulkbuster, plus 25% bleed duration. Also could be relatively useful, so not too bad. Overall, I am quite excited. Now, the only worry is about practicality. How reliable and practical this playstyle can be and where it can be used. Because, needless to say, skill class now has Falcon, Kingpin, Jabari Panther, Crossbones, and for this buff to matter, he has to be better at some matchups than those champions. Now, whether he will or will not be ultimately still remains to be seen. Overall, I do think his kit does have potential, but at the same time, it is a lot more conditional than, let's say, Falcon. Just dash back, put on lock on, and you can play freely. If opponent's passive, you don't need stress about it. Here, you need to remain aggressive, you need to keep on intercepting. And whether it's all worth it, and whether it's realistic, and whether it's the best way how to tackle solutions, thus giving an actual purpose for Black Panther in the game. Again, I can't say that immediately because there are obviously several conditions to his ability accuracy, how quickly he can get those Panther's Rage or whatever they were called, and how quickly he can shut down opponent's ability accuracy by 100% completely, and everything else. But overall, I think the buff's quite interesting. I'm definitely quite eager to test it out. I do have like a SIG 200 5-star Black Panther. I don't have a 6-star one, but still, it's better than nothing. So as soon as the buffs go live, I will do some testing. Let me know what you guys think. Whether this buff is something that excites you, or you are disappointed, or you're just kind of uninterested. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about listening or reading through it. I will leave a link to this champion spotlight in the description. And other than that, yeah, off to the next video. See you guys. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about